Sam Darnold's grandfather, might be great-grandfather, was the
Grandpa.
Marlboro Man, and his name was Dick Hammer. He won a gold medal in volleyball at the Olympics.
And he was also the fire chief for, I think, L.A.
Yeah, he was also a fire chief. So, like, the bloodlines are strong with this one.
Do you have fire in your gut? Okay, we're here for a reason to win games. So if you didn't have that fire in your gut, you better light the fire pretty fast.
So Seattle Seahawks. And Jay, do you realize the Seahawks went 10-7 last year?
If you would have asked me, I remember them winning more games than they should have. I would have guessed they were 8-9, 9-8. Talk about a team that you're looking at here. Looks like they may be putting the pieces together.
Yeah, big picture, I think this defense has the potential to be nasty. I think this offense has a few pieces and conceptually could work, but I still have questions.
I still have questions. I mean, Sam Darnold, huge question mark. Because what is Sam Darnold without
Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison?
Well, I was going to say the head coach.
Oh, Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell might be the best quarterback coach in the entire league right now. I mean, he just always seems to get the best out of his quarterbacks. And we've seen Darnold in multiple opportunities. And I mean, granted, not always the best opportunities. This is probably the second best situation we've seen Darnold in outside of his time in San Francisco, where we didn't really get to see Sam Darnold in that situation. Yeah. So
the Seahawks move on from the Washington Huskies offense coordinator they hired last year to hire Clint Kubiak. Clint Kubiak, I mean, the scheme is at least cousins with McVay and Kevin O'Connell. So you are getting a 1-for-1 scheme transfer here, essentially, from the running aspect, from the personnel aspect, a lot of zone run concepts. And I think Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet are a very strong duo to run this offense.
Might be the best running back duo in the league.
There are some rumors out there about them potentially trading Kenneth Walker. I'm not sure how much I buy those, considering that it's a Clint Kubiak offense.
What would you be getting to make it worth trading? I mean, he's on a rookie contract.
It would be like a third-round pick, I bet. Fourth-round pick, maybe. Probably third. I think third.
Unless I don't know. I mean, I know third-round picks are good.
Well, and here's where it comes in, though. Zach Charbonnet, Kenny McIntosh has shown you some stuff, and they got Damian Martinez in the draft. They got Damian Martinez way later than he deserved to go.
Yeah.
If they feel good about the off-field stuff that made Damian Martinez fall,
Oregon State legend
that happening now. Yeah, Oregon State, Miami, Damian Martinez is a monster. So
they got Jordan Love at safety. That's pretty fun.
Yeah. But let's dive into the offense. So going from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold is about as pure opposite as you can. Combined with the offensive scheme change, last year they were all shotgun. They were it was all Geno, just make some magic happen. To now you're going into a very heavily schemed, run-centric offense that relies a lot on play action and playing the looks to create advantage for your players that Sam Darnold excelled in last year in Minnesota and had some experience with Shanahan as well as he got to with the 49ers. But they drafted Jalen Milroe.
They did draft Jalen Milroe. Fun.
Interesting.
Fun guy, Jalen Milroe.
There's some stuff floating around there. Last year we had Adam Emmert from the Seahawkers podcast on here, Talk Seahawks with us. And I forget where. I was listening to their podcast today. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. I was listening to their podcast today. They did a season preview for the roster and kind of talking with I forget who the guest was, but it was an outstanding episode. Go check it out if you haven't yet and you're a Seahawks fan. Talking about how he thinks they're going to bring in some option stuff into this offense for Jalen Milroe. And I think that could get really interesting, especially if Sam Darnold goes down or if they hit a point where with this O-line, they're struggling to run the football. Jalen Milroe will open that up for them. Getting him on the field will make it so you're playing 10 on 11 at all times. So, from a running perspective. So, Jalen Milroe is a really interesting ad here to me.
So last time they went out in free agency and signed a quarterback to a pretty big contract, and then drafted a rookie the same year. It worked out pretty well for them, and I see some similarities in both teams. I'm glad you made Jaxon Smith-Njigba a blue chipper here. This kid is an absolute stud. I loved him coming out of Ohio State. You pair him with Cooper Kupp. I mean, I feel like that is a great duo you have there. I didn't mind him moving on from DK whatsoever. I think it's Jaxon Smith-Njigba's time. Pairing him with Cooper Kupp, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I feel like MVS will kind of fill a little bit of the DK void, and then Cooper Kupp kind of fills that. Tyler Lockett, high volume guy. I mean, I feel like Cooper Kupp can obviously go out there and catch you plenty of balls and always be open.
So you know how I said I went back and watched some Devontae Adams yesterday to make sure that he still had it?
Yeah.
I did the same thing with Cooper Kupp, and I'm not sure he has vertical separation in his game anymore. I think he can do a lot for you, but I'm not sure that he can be the true difference maker out there, which you have JSN take pressure off him. That makes
I was gonna say you didn't sign Cooper Kupp to be Cooper Kupp. You signed Cooper Kupp
right
to be a compliment to JSN.
And that's what I was getting at. Like I think that the expectations for Kupp should be tempered a little bit and let him surprise you, as opposed to expecting a lot and saying like, well, he wasn't good anymore. Like he's still good in ways,
yeah,
but I'm not sure he can win on vertical routes much. And
that's
not what you're asking him to do.
Whenever Cooper Kupp first, when it was clear that he was leaving Los Angeles, the first thing I told you was Seattle, and you're like, I don't see it, and I think it's a great fit here.
Yeah, and so Dana in the comments saying he put Torrey Horton over MVS in the slot. That's fair. Like I actually, my concept here was that Cooper Kupp is much more the slot. Cooper and JSN probably alternate there, and MVS just stays an outside sacrificial X.
Yeah, because you're probably not going to see much of MVS on the inside.
He's out there to run go routes and keep the safeties on.
Yeah,
and maybe you see some Jake Bobo in that type of role, or maybe you see Jake Bobo in some big slot. Like they're going to run a lot of 12 personnel. They have Noah Fant, and they just add Elijah Arroyo, who is an absolute dog.
Yeah,
I love Elijah Arroyo. I think you're going to see a lot of 12 personnel, some heavier packages. I think you might see Bobo, and like the 3 receiver spot to me is going to be pretty interchangeable. Torrey Horton will, I'm sure, get in there a fair amount. They spent a draft pick on him, so like ultimately, I think this is a decently balanced room of pass catching weapons for the offense they're going to run. And I really think the meat and potatoes in this offense comes back to the running back duo of Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Their offense is going to go as those two go.
Yeah, and then I mean, looking at this offensive line, Charles Cross, he was a rookie last year or second year guy last year?
Third year, I think.
It was already third. Is this already his 4th year?
Let's fact check that. I'm pretty sure it was
Mississippi State. I know that.
Yeah, Mississippi State. Let's see. Yeah, last year was his 3rd season, so he's going into his 4th year.
His 4th year. I mean, he's been solid for him at tackle.
When healthy, he's been good.
Zabel coming in. I like Zabel a lot in the draft. What do you think about this offensive line here? We've talked about some of the defensive lines in this division. How do you think this offensive line holds up?
People like Oluwatimi. I have not watched a ton of tape from him. I went back and watched a few games because I knew people liked him, and I wasn't really a big fan of his coming out of Michigan. I thought his feet were pretty slow, and I have a real lack of confidence in guys with slow feet. I do think his feet have sped up in the NFL, but he just didn't seem like he was very good. But this is a weird thing with center. There are like 4 good centers in the NFL, and everyone else is just like between complete crap and kind of crap.
Is it 3 now that
now that Ragnar's gone? Yeah, it might be 3 now.
I also love the idea of making room for a fullback. Always make room for a fullback.
Sense. I mean, hey, maybe AJ Barner is your de facto fullback, but so Oluwatimi, like he's probably an average center in the NFL, if I'm being honest, average to slightly below average, but like that center is only going to be as good as what's around him, right? So you got a rookie next to him. I like Gray Zabel a lot, but your rookie needs to be making up for the center a little bit then. And Christian Haynes, I loved Christian Haynes coming out of the draft 2 years ago. He missed a bunch of his rookie year with an injury. I don't think he played great when he was out there, you have two question marks around that center. And it's a good point from Eric Gilbertson here. Olu has a strong mental game when you see if he can hold up physically. If you can be a smart center, you will last. Like,
Yeah, you're going to keep a job in the league.
If you are good physically as a center, you're probably a guard.
Yeah,
that's the way the NFL works.
Yeah.
Like, the guys at center don't tend to be as good physically as guards because you make more money at guard. And you're more valuable to the run game at guard. You can win at center with just the smarts. But great point from Cupcake. Always making for a fullback.
Love seeing Cupcake get in on the action.
Oh yeah. Shout out to our hardworking producer there. Always doing all the good stuff for us. But then Abraham Lucas at right tackle. I liked Lucas coming out of the draft. I thought he played well as a rookie for them. Since then, it's been injuries. It's been stuff limiting his ability to play well. And it's a big question mark to me at this point what Abraham Lucas will be going forward. I still like the talent. I still am hopeful for the player, but I can't be high on him until he shows me more again. So ultimately, offensive line is a big question mark to me, even though the last years they have addressed those guard spots well, in my opinion. You need to see the proof here because
Abe we trust.
Yeah, Eric says, and Abe we trust. I liked what I saw from Abe early in his career. It's just been he hasn't stayed on the field, and that's
all honest Abe out there at right tackle.
Yeah, and I don't love what they like. Josh Jones is actually decent depth there. Anthony Bradford isn't bad as a swing guard. So that, and I really like Bryce Cable out of Kansas. I really liked him. I don't even know if he went draft. Let's see, was he even a draft pick? Yeah, he was 192. I think he's a good blocker. I think he's a good offensive lineman. He might be able to step in for you in a pinch.
The best 192nd pick in NFL history is some are saying.
Yeah, some are saying. But so we'll see. Like, I like some of the young talent on this O-line. I just need to see it come together. I need to see some proof before I'm buying it. Now, defensively, this is where this team gets fun.
Yeah, they got old Leonard out there and
monster. Freaking monster.
Always has been.
He had great tape last year. I mean, he probably got robbed of I think he got an alternate Pro Bowl invite, but he got robbed. He was a difference maker. Byron Murphy II, I don't know. I mean, I guess he was fine as a rookie. I was hoping for a little more from him personally, but he generally did his job. He was asking more of a nose tackle, I believe. Then I think his best role is probably as a 3 technique. He's probably going to be a nose tackle again this year from what I can see. But he can take a step. I do think defensive tackle has become a harder position to jump in as a rookie and really make a difference the last few years. I've noticed defensive tackles have kind of come along more slowly the last few years than they did previously. So I do think Byron Murphy can take a step. If he takes a step next to Leonard Williams, Jerron Reed, DeMarcus Lawrence, Boye Mafe, Derek Hall, Uchenna Nwosu, this becomes a really nasty D-line. It might be a really nasty D-line without him taking a step.
You're gonna have good run defense there.
Yeah, that's what Tank does, right?
It's great at run defense.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about these linebackers? I know that's your sweet spot.
Well, yeah, my sweet spot, my blind spot, more like. So I'm gonna talk a little edge first. Because I think Boye Mafe, he might not be the most talented edge rusher, but this dude's a fucking dog.
But he is an edge rusher.
He's a dog, man. When you need a play, he goes and makes a play. Boye Mafe is a fun watch and a guy who I think is primed for a breakout year. Derek Hall put up I want to say 10 sacks. Maybe that was the PFF number, but he got in on a bunch of sacks last year. His grades never quite matched up. I think that he is a bit of a one-trick pony, but he's really good at that one trick. So it works for him. And in Uchenna Nwosu, I believe he missed some time with injury, but he was a decent signing for them. Actually, I'm just gonna fact check myself on that. I start, we're talking 4 different teams in one night. I start to get some of these guys mixed up sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But let's see. Yeah, so he was with the Chargers and then came over to Seattle, had 9.5 sacks his first year, but the last 2 years he's only played 12 games, 6 in each year. So question marks there with what you're going to get out of him, but that there is some upside there. At linebacker, I mean, I can't tell you much about Tyrese Knight. Ernest Jones, they made a move to grab him last year, and he played well for them. So, like Ernest Jones, he played well for the Rams for a few years before that. He is a quality football player out there. Hey, thank you, Eric. We appreciate that. Usually in the YouTube comments, we hear about how much we don't know. But to hear that we know something is so nice.
Yeah, absolutely. This is usually when I start breaking down whenever we start getting this late. But looking at this DB room, Tariq Woolen, really good player for him still. Devon Witherspoon
needs to take a step though. Like last year, he took a step backwards. He needs to go forwards.
Yeah. What was he, a rookie 2 years ago? Whenever he
had a great rookie year.
Yeah, and came on strong.
He was so raw coming out of school. He had a lot to learn, and it was like you
Mhm.
would think he would take a big step in his second year, and maybe it was the scheme change, the new coaching, but like he didn't take that step.
And then Devon Witherspoon.
It might have been 3 years ago.
But has it been that long?
Yeah, because Devon Witherspoon's going into his third year now. So Tariq Woolen last year was his third. This next one's his fourth.
Okay.
So I wonder how much was the scheme change that really messed up. Eric says Woolen forgot to tackle last year.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for a defensive guy. But so what do you like about this DB room outside of your blue chippers that you have here with Witherspoon and Jordan Love?
I think Tariq Woolen's a ball hawk. Like I think he can find taking the ball away. I think Devon Witherspoon, you said besides blue chippers, but I have to talk about them a little. Devon Witherspoon is just a missile. Comes downhill and crushes people, like reliable player in the nickel. But I do think he was a little overdrafted because, I mean, at like number 4, number 5 overall, they took a nickel. That's a little tough to swallow for me when you're starting Josh Jobe on the outside. And that's really where my question comes in. Is like, why are you getting out of Josh Jobe this year? Is Nehemiah Pritchett gonna step up and take that spot? Maybe. I think that Pritchett has talent. I don't think he can tackle though. I don't think he's any good against the run, or at least coming out of college, he wasn't. So maybe he's improved there, but the depth at corner really does concern me here. But the starting talent, like Josh Jobe, is my big question on the starting defense.
Yeah, a lot of people were hot on Manowari coming out.
Manowari's interesting. I wonder how they're going to deploy him. So Eric's saying here that he thinks they're going to put Manowari in the nickel,
Witherspoon,
and let Devon Witherspoon eat. That's interesting. That's just kind of a roamer, like a free mover, wild card guy, maybe.
Rover star.
I could see that. I would like that a lot, actually. I don't know how well Manowari can play the nickel, because I think he is also kind of that roamer kind of player. Like I think the idea behind him, to me, when I watched him, I said someone's going to see Kyle Hamilton in him, and I bet it's going to be the Seahawks. And lo and behold, the Seahawks drafted him. I'm not sure. Manowari plays so well moving forward. I don't think he plays well moving backwards, which is going to be interesting if you put him in the nickel. He'll be a force run defender. I don't know how he'll play in coverage, though. That's where Devon Witherspoon becomes a really strong nickel, as he can do both, to me. Julian Love, I think, is such a good safety. This dude doesn't get enough love, no pun intended. Like, he is just a dog. This defense has dogs all over it, man. Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, DeMarcus Lawrence, Boye Mafe, Julian Love, Devon Witherspoon. They are all dogs. But it's just that question of Josh Jobe and Kobe Bryant. Can they be good enough at their two spots to not be liabilities?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some stuff to build on here. And looking at this roster going into 2025, I like what I'm seeing. It's not the same situation as Tennessee that I was talking about last week, where you're going to be looking at the end of the season proud. I see a similar situation as far as record goes. I wouldn't be surprised if they're 4 to 6 win team, and I think that's going to come from a lack of ability at the quarterback position. When we were talking about Tennessee, I was saying they're going to be really excited moving forward. I think if they don't find a quarterback, this Seahawks fan base might be a little bit angry when you see this roster, you see the talent everywhere, and if they don't get the quarterback position right, they might just be good enough to not get a quarterback, and without a quarterback, that's the worst spot to be.
Yeah, that's where I have questions with a changing scheme again, second new scheme in 2 years. I think it takes a toll on the players to a degree. It might be energizing for them if last year's scheme was that bad, which a lot of Seahawks fans think it was that bad. It may just have been. It was a very college-y offense.
Mm-hmm.
The players might be refreshed by it, going like, okay, we're getting back to playing NFL football. But
Yeah.
everyone's learning something new, and that gives me pause. And then just the two defensive back positions give me pause. I'm not sure that they're going to meet that 10-7 they hit last year. I think they will. Gun to my head, I think they're going over 7.5 wins, but I'm not sure if they're making that 10-7 number that they hit last year.
You know what's really crazy? You bring up the 10-7 last year. It's even crazier to me that they went 10-7 and 6-10-1 against the spread.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, that to me that reads like they won multiple games that they shouldn't have won, which could be flawed. That could be a flawed way of reading it, but as a non-Seahawks fan looking at that number, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, you look at the against the spread number, and you look at a team that you see 10-7, you're like, oh, they overperformed, but that's weird. It feels like that's an anomaly for a team that felt like they overperformed. So, but yeah, if I'm looking at this 7.5 win total, playoffs at +186, division at +550, Super Bowl at 60-1. Oh man, I might be looking at this under right here just because Darnold is. It's the most important position in football. They get paid the most money for a reason. I love the running back room here. I love their receivers. Maybe they have enough talent to overcome a bad Sam Darnold. But I mean, if Sam Darnold plays well, I mean, they're going to be right in the thick of this in this division. But like we keep saying, I mean, every team can't win 10 or 11 games. So if this team does go 8-9, 9-8, 10-7 again, how much confidence do you have as a fan going forward with a quarterback you look like you're going to have for at least 2 to 3 years, but you look with the talent around him, it's like, man, we could be so much better than we are. Like,
it's tough on the value here. And I know, like Eric says, he's feeling good about it because they're playing the NFC and AFC South. I think that's fair. That's valid.
Seems to be a recurring theme for everybody in this division that it's like, we may beat up on each other, but we have probably the two.
Yeah. Well, he put 200 on the over for 8.5, and I get that. To me, it's if we're talking about the best bet for me, I'm playing odd. So I'm either going playoffs at +186 or under at +110 because I think both are possible. I'd probably lean playoffs at +186 just because there's more juice there. But ultimately, I could flip a coin on those two just because I don't think I don't love them to win the division enough to say I'm going up to the 550 juice.
Yeah.
So make the playoffs or under 7.5 those are the only two plays for me.
Yeah, I'm taking the under just for the sole fact. I mean, the against the spread stat from last year
scares me.
That really, and I think they downgraded. I think Geno was the better quarterback, but I also don't think the transition from Geno to Darnold is crazy, but I do think Geno probably gave you a little bit better of a shot to win.
I think Geno was a notably better quarterback with worse availability and reliability with health.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I've always liked Darnold. I mean, I hope he performs as well. And I love JSN. Yeah, I love JSN, one of my favorite players in recent memory coming out of the draft. So I really hope they can put it together. I strongly dislike the 49ers. So if they're good and the Cardinals are good and the Rams are good, hopefully that means the 49ers are losing.
Yeah. I just have to let any Seahawks fans out there know, if you don't know, Sam Darnold's grandfather, might be great-grandfather, was the Marlboro Man, and his name was Dick Hammer. He won a gold medal in volleyball at the Olympics.
And he was also the fire chief for, I think, LA.
Yeah, he was also a fire chief. So, like, the bloodlines are strong with this one.
You got the blood of Dick Hammer running through your veins. Anything is possible, is what I've always said.
Anything is possible.
Yeah, Eric, just this isn't a trick. Just Google Dick Hammer.
Yeah, you won't hopefully get any rough results.
Yeah, maybe have your safe search on when you do
Dick
it.
Hammer Marlboro Man.
Or Dick Hammer Darnold grandfather.
Yeah, that'll get you the results you're looking for.
You might turn on your safe search just in case.